What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. I got a fly down here, so if you see him fly through here, you know the dealio. What's going on, Flipside? Thanks for being in here. Appreciate it. On phone can't tag. Got it. So let me send Matt83 a link. Matt, are you in here? Let me know. Oh, there you are. I'll just post the link. Copy. And if anybody else wants to come up, you can do that also. My service isn't the greatest. Not sure if it's just getting a dead circle on my end or not. SMK, what's going on, bud? Thanks for coming in. Bill 457, what's going on, my good dude? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We'll see if Matt can come in. Coin Junkie, thanks for being here. Red Light, what's going on, bud? Brisky, thanks for being here. Siren, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Oh, there he is.
That's on the Coast Guard. That's on the Coast Guard. That's on the Coast Guard. This is Coast Guard Center Corpus Christi on channel 16.
I'll turn up the volume here. All right, let's do a mic check. Matt, can we hear you?
Hey, hear me, pal?
I got you.
All right. Okay, I'm running off my little hotspot here. Get a little better service. And I'm crossing the bay right now, so not much to see at the moment. I'll be coming to land cut in a minute. Oh, this thing gonna work. I got my phone propped up with the binoculars. I need those. This ain't gonna give me one second. Yeah, that'll work. All right, good talk.
Wolf, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a member. Yeah, so this is Matt83. Matt is big in the coin community for the last few years, and he just got done dealing with that big storm down there. He's out of Corpus Christi right now, and he's in a big bay, but he says we're going to see something coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, I think. But needless to say, this tugboat is moving. It's a tugboat pushing a petroleum barge. So yeah. It's a huge barge.
About 15 minutes, I'll be in the land cut. I'll be meeting the boat in a little while. So,
what will that boat do for you?
Looks like he's got two empties, so we'll just have to see him on the one whistle, which is port to port. He might have, port to tail from here so easily. Yeah, we just got to talk and make arrangements. So I might have the radio. You might have the radio every now and again. But that's about it. Just got to pay attention, make sure I don't run out of the channel, because even though there's a big bay, the water's only deep in a very small spot of it. And if you notice, all the buoys are missing, so there's nothing to drive off of. There's a buoy, looks like it's about maybe 2 miles ahead of me. But on this whole section, there's only 2 buoys on my starboard side, red buoys. So for about a 10-mile section across this bay, 10, 15 miles, all the buoys are missing. It's been like this for months and months, and they haven't replaced them. So, especially at night, driving through here, it's so annoying and difficult. Luckily today, the wind's only blowing 15s. It's not blowing me down too bad, but I only have about I don't know, meeting boats out here, you're only going to have about maybe 25 feet of play before you either crash into them or crash into the bottom of the boat into the bank. So not having buoys is pretty annoying. But anyway, I'll cry about more later.
You said the buoys haven't been out there in ever, right?
Yeah, it's been months, 6 months probably. They just get fewer and fewer. They have a few greens on my port side, but as far as reds on the starboard side, I've only seen 2 so far. I'm almost across the bay, and the last one I passed was not even close to on station. I passed in between the middle, right in the middle of the green and the red buoy, and I was running aground. I had to hurry up, point back towards the green. So it was probably 200 feet off station.
So let's give them a little heads up on what the green and red buoys mean, going outbound and going inbound.
Red right return is pretty much a rule of thumb. Anytime you're returning from sea, you're going to keep the red buoys on your starboard side. Right is the starboard. Right and red go together. Port and green go together. Port is left. Port is 4 letters. Left is 4 letters. Green is less letters than. Wait, I'm messing this all up. Okay, so you got your red side. You got red. You got starboard.
Right.
Punk on.
Hold on, let's just go score 1 second.
Corpus Christi, Texas. United States Coast Guard Center, Corpus Christi, Texas. United States Coast Guard.
Okay, not important. So pretty much port, people remember, I remember by port is always the left side of your board. It's going to be on the left side, and it's the green side, green light. Red is going to be the light on your starboard side, and depending on where you're at.
Red return, that's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, red right return. That's pretty much the thing they tell you to remember for when you're coming back from sea. So if you're ever going down, if you're going down from, up, I guess upriver, if you're going north, the red's going to be on your right side. Right now I'm going west, and they're still on my right side.
See if you can turn that phone sideways and see if the picture changes.
I know it'll go full screen. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to get it to stand up. That's my
I
issue.
see.
Wait, let me go on the speaker over here. I just don't have anything that I can put it on at the moment. Let me lean this over. It might work. And not wreck at the same time. Okay, go ahead and saw.
We're going to have to get you a suction cup for the window.
Yeah, normally it's not as bad. I can roll the window up, but the sun's so bright, if I roll it up, it gets 100 degrees in here, and it's horrible. But I probably got to figure something out. Just got to stuff some paper towels and stuff behind there, scared to hold the phone. We'll be good.
So you can just put it back the way it was, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Look at the deck.
So you're in the big bay outside of Corpus Christi, you said?
Yeah, we'll be coming into Corpus Christi in another maybe 8 hours or so. We'll come to the fleet before we. Right now, I don't know if we're going to be going to dock. Normally, we got to get in the port, then we get with the dock. See if we're going to be going straight on dock, or if we have to spend some time in the fleet first. But if you can, I don't know how well y'all can see, but right now I finally have a buoy on each side of me. There's one on the left side and one on the right side of green or red. It's the first time I've seen 2 buoys since I've just gotten to this damn thing. Might be kind of hard to see on here.
It is huge. Matter of fact, look at the ropes down there on the bottom right. It's deceiving how big this thing is. Those ropes are what, 4-inch round ropes, 3-inch round ropes?
3 inch, 2.5 or 3 inch.
I mean, when a guy grabs that stack of rope down there, it's a big pile of rope.
Yeah, it probably weighs, if just one coil is 600 feet. Coil of rope, yeah, we definitely can't carry it, but normally we'll get half of that out, 300 feet, and still 2 men can't pick it up. We cut them into 3 ropes, each 100 feet long, and if the bigger guys, like I can put a rope on each shoulder and walk with it, but that's it. So most guys can only carry 1 rope at a time if they have to move them. So yeah, I'd say they probably weigh 70, 60 pounds. And if they're wet, they probably weigh 100 pounds. They're coiled at 100 foot that we splice out. They're about the size of a Coke can round.
Neat. So how long will you be driving today?
I am on for another 3.5 hours. I drive till 6 here, 7 your time.
And that's 8 hours a day you drive, or 10 hours, or what is it?
I drive 12 hours a day. I drive 6 out from midnight to 6 in the morning, then noon till 6 in the evening. So actually, it's crazy. When we figured this out not too long ago, people freak out. You know, everybody talks about, you make so much money, you make great money, which we do make decent money out here. But my daily rate and my girlfriend, which is a school teacher, we make the exact same amount an hour for the hours we work.
So you're locked on the ship 24/7 for weeks on end, and she goes to work 8 hours a day, and you guys make the same rate.
An hour, correct. That's just the 12 hours I work. If you go for 24 hours, she makes way more than me if you count that. But I'm only counting the 12 hours I work. 12 hours of work, we make like $30, $32 an hour.
Bill Baker.
One second. Joyce Maxine, Bill Baker. I'll be on one for you, bud. Okay, I said Bill Baker up there. He's just got one empty, so that's going to give me a lot more room. That definitely helps out. Double wide, we're 108 foot wide. This channel's probably only 250 foot wide with water, so maybe a little less than that. So when we meet doubled up toes out here, there's not much room for error, you know. But of course, you can always slow down, stop, let the bottom boat touch the bank, and start again.
And
I can't see the chat either, so if anybody's saying anything in the chat, I can't see that.
everybody's just mesmerized. How fast are you going?
Right now, I am going a whopping 6.5 miles an hour.
Man, Speedy Gonzalez.
No doubt. No doubt. That's about average what we make this boat for sure. I've been on this boat for a couple months now. Since I've been 14 and 14, I've been kind of trying to find a spot for me. Once they put the whole company back 14 and 7, and this boat was needing the guy, so I came on here. Pretty much been staying from Houston to Corpus Christi. That's all this boat pretty much runs.
And so, where are you going right now?
I am going to Corpus Christi in Harbor itself. Right now, we are about to be out of San Antonio Bay, is what it's called.
How far up into Texas can you go? Let's say you entered from the Gulf, and how far into Texas can you go into Texas?
Not very far with us. We can't go that far. We go to the Houston Ship Channel, which goes north, but once you get to Houston, that's about as far as we can make it. They have bridges that we can't pass, and then the water just gets too shallow. And since they have those fixed bridges, nobody worries about dredging it out. So you can go above I-10 in Houston, but that's about it. That's as high as I could think of as far as here. You know, we do go to Brownsville. There's the ICW, but all the ICW does is pretty much drag the coast. So you're not really going to get you're not going to really go north any, you know.
And then let's say that you had to go furthest north in North America in that ship, in that tugboat, pushing. How far up could you go? What's the furthest state you could go to?
The Great Lakes.
Really?
Yeah, we go to Great Lakes up in Chicago. You got to go through Chicago, through Joliet, Illinois River, and you go up above St. Louis through the upper Mississippi River. You could also go to Pittsburgh through the Ohio River. So I haven't been all the way to Pittsburgh. I've been to West Virginia. So yeah, I've been as far north as right above St. Louis. You got to turn and go kind of east to get to the Great Lakes. And on the Ohio River, I've been up to Wellington, Waverly, West Virginia, something like that.
You piloted on the Great Lakes?
No, I've never actually driven a boat on the Great Lakes. I have my license covers it, but I've only see what happens is once we would get to Chicago, they have bridges that we couldn't duck on the boat I was working. They actually made a boat with a cabin wheelhouse that went up and down where they could duck that. But when I was going up there, we couldn't. So we would get to the last bridge, train bridge we'd get to, and then we'd have to park on the side of the canal, which is actually, it's a drainage canal. It's all cement. It's for the drainage of all of Chicago. It's the most polluted waterway in the United States. And we had to tie up there in a fleet boat would have to come grab our barges, and then we'd have to take taxis to get to our barges for the guys to load them up with oil or discharge them or whatever.
Huh. Siren says Matt83 drinks tea with his pinky up.
I bet you it's going to look like I'm going to smash this, guys. Just to let y'all know. When you're driving these things, it definitely doesn't look like you're going to be able to pass each other. But I can't see a good 25, 35 feet on the side of the barge. It's so because the barge is 15 foot in the air. So there's a good distance, and it's 375 feet ahead of me. So it's going to look like I'm going to smash this guy probably, but we'll be okay. Just letting y'all know ahead of time. There's actually a porpoise playing right in front of the barge. Dolphin.
So this guy was just coming out.
Yeah, he's going eastbound. He's going towards Houston area, Galveston area. Yeah, he just come out of ICW to Little. He's just coming into the bay.
Huh.
And the wind's actually picking up. But yeah, see right now, we're probably 40 foot wide off each other. It just looks like we're going to smash each other.
It definitely does look like that.
So that is the trick. You have to get your brain into knowing that, hey, this is fine, we're going to make it. There's a lot of space I can't see. If I can see the side of his barge like I can, the top part, I know I'm really, really wide.
Huh.
And he's just got
going a lot.
barge, so.
It looks like he's really motoring.
He's doing 8.3. Yeah, he's got just that one empty, and it's just a deck board, so he doesn't have all that weight on top. So pretty much all they did with that board, it's an old board just like this. It's for my old company, Sinac. They bought that board from my old company. They wiped everything off the top and just made it a deck board so where they could bring different things, different areas like cranes and maybe pipes or whatever you want to load on top of boards.
Huh, so that barge was just like this barge, but it was just wiped off the top.
Correct. They just took everything on the top. They still the pipeline on the back of it. All they have left is that pipeline, like where that big black crossover hose is right in front of us.
Yeah.
Handrail. That's the hose that connects to the other barge when we load and discharge, where the product go from the dock through this barge to the other barge. Load them both or discharge them both at the same time.
Huh.
I'm actually making 6.8 now. I'm killing it. They might have a fair tide over here in this canal.
6.8. Okay. So
Yeah.
what is knots to miles per hour?
Knot is about 1.2 miles per hour.
Oh,
So
you're
knots
going
would be a
faster
little
than
less.
you thought.
So knots wise, I'm probably only doing about 5.8.
Yeah. And where are you heading right now? Meaning, what are you dropping off, or what are you picking up?
Limit. I don't even think we have orders now, but just we usually do asphalt on these barges. So yeah, the same stuff that makes a road. We have to keep it at about 300 degrees. That's what them big tanks are, them big green tanks. That is volcanic heaters, which heats the product up. We have to heat the barge up before we get there, get it up to temp, because if that hot asphalt hits cold barge, it turns to rocks suddenly. So I also have to make sure all the water's out of the barge in case they have any condensation in there, because as soon as that hot asphalt hits water, it's like grease popping and cracking like crazy.
Huh.
So yeah, that's pretty much all we do is there's heater barges, so no gasoline, no diesel, no jet fuel, no naphtha, none of that stuff. It's just going to be like 6 oil, which is what they run ships off of. Pretty much everything when you use everything awesome, the best stuff out of oil, you take all the best things out of crude oil, you're left with 6 oil, and that's what ships run off of when they're offshore. It's also called fuel oil sometimes, but it's just thick and black.
So let's discuss that a little bit. You said that once you get offshore, you can burn crude oil, you can burn like regular oil.
Yep. Once you get in international waters and they don't have nobody worried about pollution standards are crazy, Yeah, they don't burn expensive diesel. They only burn that once they get into, coming into, U.S. waters, and every country has different regulations. So yeah, once they're out in the Gulf or the oceans, yeah, they're running off that stuff that throws that thick smoke.
That's why you see sometimes ships are running and they're throwing out big black plumes, and sometimes
Yeah,
they're not.
Roger, Roger.
Huh. Fubar says he doesn't see any fishing rod holders.
No, none at all.
Fubar, not one holder on the boat.
Maybe we could throw some off the back and trawl a little bit.
Okay, so do you have fishing poles on the boat?
Yeah, we have to. Well, I'm sure these guys do. I usually have fishing poles on every boat I work on. Just got to be careful where you're at, because got a lot of, and like in Corpus, the port we're going into, the port does not allow any fishing. If you come into their port with a regular fishing vessel, they are going to send the Coast Guard to stop you, turn you around. You're not allowed in the port whatsoever, ever since 9/11. It was kind of bad before that, but since 9/11, everything's gotten worse. Same thing with Houston. You're not allowed to just drive into Houston with a fishing boat. You get to a certain point, they stop you. There's traffic areas. So once I have to get permission to go into their waterway. Once I get what's called a Lydian Channel Fleet, about 4 hours from Corpus, I have to call their port harbor master and let him know what I'm doing, or her know what I'm doing, where I'm going. They're going to get with the dock, see if they have dock space, they want to take us on or not, and then they'll call me back or let me know, yeah, come here, go there, this is what you can do, or no dock space, you need to stay there, because that's the last fleet they have before you get into Corpus Christi, and you're not allowed to go into Corpus Christi if you don't have fleet space already. There's a couple fleets in Corpus, but they stay full. So if they don't, I have to pretty much get permission from them, and then once I leave, I have to call them, know I'm leaving, and all that good stuff. When I get where I'm going.
If I was going to Google this, where you're entering, what would I Google?
I would look up, try maybe San Antonio Bay, maybe.
Entry to San Antonio Bay?
Yeah, right behind me. I know on Google Maps they do have Charlie's Bait Camp. That's the last little store and crew change spot. That's about 15 miles behind me. So Nick bring it up. I'm just coming out of San Antonio Bay right now.
Okay, well, I'm seeing if I can find a map.
Here's oh man. Let's see what's ahead of me. Maybe that'll help out more. I don't think I have much. I'm going to be cutting across the interstate in a little while, maybe an hour or two. So up there, and that's what's going to lead to Lydian Channel and Rockport. You're probably up Rockport, Texas. I'll be there in about 4 hours.
So you're behind this marsh break, San Jose Island and Matagorda Island. You're on the backside of that, right?
Matagorda Bay. We passed through Matagorda Bay yesterday. I'm trying to figure out my map. Let me look on my phone. I'm using my phone. I can't look on my map. I do have a chart system here. It's kind of hard to see. I probably can show you on my chart where we're at, but it might not help you. What am I doing? I'm hitting the wrong button. Sure. There's a little Mustang Lake is right on the side of me, but that's so small you're probably not going to see it. The last town I came through is probably, which is, like I said, if you're looking on Google Maps, they definitely have Charlie's Bait Camp or Charlie's Fishing Camp, and it comes up in Texas. I Googled it last time I was coming through here. I'm at mile marker wise. I'm at exactly at the 500 mile board of the ICW west of Harvey Locks. So there's the ICW east of Harvey Locks and ICW west of Harvey Locks. Both from New Orleans starts from mile marker 1. The west starts at Algiers, west of New Orleans. It's going to start 1 all the way till you get to Brownsville. It's like a 800 mile board. And then east of New Orleans, you go through Industrial Locks, and it starts as mile marker 1 there, also going east all the way through I've been as far as Panama City. I'm sure it goes further than that, but that's as far as I've been. But now that I'm back in the land cut, it's a lot easier to talk and see where I'm at. I can see a lot more, you know. The last town behind me would be Victoria, Texas, probably. There's a little cut in the middle of the bay, in the middle of San Antonio Bay that goes to Victoria. We do go north to dock there. So Victoria, Texas is the closest probably town to me right now. And if you zoom out from there, you kind of see I'm not off into the Gulf where it shows Matagorda Island. I'm right inside of Matagorda Island. And yeah, San Jose Island and Matagorda Island, I am right. Okay, I see what you're talking about now. I am right north in the ICW above that Matagorda Island. I'm going to be coming up on where San Jose's at in about 20, 30 minutes. So that's right about where I'm at.
Yeah, so, okay,
But
so...
I'm north of that in that little channel you see right above that.
And so you're running in that little waterway behind behind the break.
Correct. There's the island is definitely south of me, more towards the Gulf.
Huh.
We can't run out there in the Gulf. We don't. This is an inshore boat, so we have a flat bottom. We have offshore boats that run offshore, but this boat is not made to go offshore.
Let me see if I can share this.
We cross some bays and whatnot, but anything over 2-3 foot waves will just break our barges apart. Because we just have wires connected and 2 barges together and a couple ropes.
Okay, so guys, I think you guys can see this map here, and he's right here. And if we pan out, let's pan all the way out.
When you go back in, you can actually see where after this island where the cut is. See down a bit. Go to the left, I guess, or maybe your right. It's hard for me to tell.
Well, there's San Jose and there's Mass.
Yeah. So where you see the narrowest spot, I'm right in between that narrowest spot. That's exactly where I'm at. The narrowest spot you see before that little indentation, I'm right there.
Huh.
So they have like a U in between Matagorda and San Jose Island on the north side. I am right there. I'm about to pass that U right there. You see coming up where it opens up?
Yeah.
That's that U.
So he's right in here. And you are heading towards San Jose right now.
Correct. I'm heading west.
And now if we pan out, we can see where he's at on the earth, where he's right down in here. But here's New Orleans. And then obviously here is where that hurricane ran right through here.
Yes, right on the lowest tip pretty much. Yeah, that's right where it was at. It was terrible. A little west of the furthest south tip of Louisiana is where it made landfall.
And your hometown is south of Houma. And
correct. Berg, Louisiana.
And you are right of Thibodaux. You are east of
Thibodaux is above me, north of me. Thibodaux is north of Houma.
Oh, there's Houma. And then, oh, right, got it.
B-O-U-R-G.
B-O-U-R-G?
Yeah, that's the name of my town. Berg, B-O-U-R-G.
And that is a population...
Not a lot.
Well, it doesn't even have a population. It's just crazy.
Well, it's double the size of when I was growing up now, but it's still not big, you know?
So when will you be going home? Security.
2 weeks and 2 days. I'm riding 3 weeks this trip to get on a regular schedule in this Philly. So it's gonna be a while. So regardless, I gotta make these insurance claims, and that takes months to get a. It's gonna take probably won't get an adjuster out until I'm home. Regardless. Then after the adjuster comes out, you're looking at insurance company approving it and sending out the first check, which they only send you out about 10 to 15 grand at a time, which is miserable. But that's all they'll send you until you get $10,000 to $15,000 worth of work done on your house. And it depends now. If they, that's when I got. That's before. I mean, I've lost everything. It's gonna be the fourth time. This time we didn't lose everything. This time I'm doing great, straight up. It's nothing even comparable to the last 3 times. But the last 3 times you got like 60 grand, 50, 60 grand in between there for everything inside my house and all structural damage. That's with 4 foot of water completely demolishing my house. Having $160,000 worth of coverage, but they only give you 60. That's just the way insurance companies work. Doesn't matter. The only way you can even get close to that is if you have a total loss, the whole house is going, and they're still going to deduct your property value from it. So even though you have to insure it for 160, if your property's worth 50,000, then they're only going to give you 110. That's just the way it works. It's a scam.
And
that's one of about a third.
That's one of the things that we did recently is, since everybody's having such a hard time getting building materials, I told the insurance company I want to be paying insurance on the amount it would cost to rebuild the house. If it burned to the ground, I don't want to have to owe $50,000 to rebuild my house. I want coverage up to 100%. So they had to do something that was kind of crazy and they raised the price of it, obviously. And obviously my insurance is not even going to be temperamental to what your insurance would be, because your insurance is probably super high considering where you live and all that stuff. And I just had to make sure. I said, so do you guys ever estimate insurance out for a total cost of a total rebuild on a house? And they said, no, we never do that. I said, well, you probably ought to be doing that right now because of the price of rebuilding and building materials. So, that's going to come into play for priorities. People with no roofs over their head should get priority with people that do have roofs over their head, to get some place to stay.
And I'll tell you how it works. When Allstate dropped me, that Allstate was covered everything I owned for the first 8 years. So I was 28 years old, I guess. That's when my house got dropped by the contractor, demolished it. I was trying to raise it up 10 feet. They dropped me, even though I had never missed payment, nothing. It just too many times. Flooded twice, and then that happened, so they dropped me. Allstate was great before that. I would get as much or more money than all my neighbors when a storm would happen. But then when they dropped me, it's because we had a storm maybe 8 months before that. I had just refinished fixing the inside of the house when the guy dropped it. It was completely remodeled. But you couldn't get insurance. It was expensive. So I was paying $2,400 a year for homeowners for the first 8 years I had this house that I'm with now. No. That's what I'm paying now. I was paying about $500 a month. I think it was about it was like $5 to $6 grand I was paying a year before I was able to switch it, and it dropped my monthly in half, a little bit more than in half. It was insane. I started saving like $300 a month just on my house note, just from swapping insurance.
Crazy.
Yeah, and my last house wasn't even in a flood zone, which is crazy. I had flood insurance, thank God, because the people who I bought it from had flood insurance, and he was able to just transfer it over. So I was only paying $213 a year for flood insurance, which, thank God I had it. And then they can't raise it. They can only raise it up a certain amount of year the way the regulations are. So it got to be about a $900 before the house got dropped. But Yeah, once Allstate dropped us, searching for insurance, there was only a few insurance companies you could pick out of, and just about maybe 2 years ago, I was finally able to switch and find cheaper insurance. And but you never know. My old insurance before, we had a bad storm come through. It took some shingles off the roof, and they started having water leak down my wall. They only paid for about half of the damages there. So even though I was paying them, I think it was like $5,600 a year, they only paid me out, I think 8 grand for a new shingles and to redo the bathroom where all the walls was peeling up.
So let me ask you this: if you had to stop that boat right now, how long would it take?
When empty, it's not that long, about maybe 150 feet, maybe. Maybe I would say the length of the tow. I'd say 300 feet probably, because we're only doing 6.5 and they're empty, so they're not that heavy. If I had loads doing 6.5, it would probably take close to a half mile, maybe. Probably about a half mile, I would say.
You guys eat good on that boat?
Honestly, not really at this company. It's decent. I mean, if I told you what we get for groceries per week, you'd probably laugh. But for a 4 or 5 man crew, we get $450 a week. So by far
Really?
the least amount I've ever gotten at any company. My old company, we would get. I mean, we had pretty much get whatever groceries we wanted. It didn't go by dollar amount so much. You just got to pick out one main meal for each day, like a roast or one main meat. So you'd have 7 meats a week you could pick out, and like a limit of like 5 or 6 canned goods of each individual canned good you wanted. So it didn't really. It went more by numbers, not price of meals. Per crew member, like each crew member got a case and a half of drinks per week. So you get well, I was working 20 and 10, so that was a 10-day schedule. Per week, you was getting 1 case. So if somebody wanted Coca-Cola, then they could have 1 case. So if you have 4 guys, 5 guys, you can get 4 or 5 cases of drinks. Much water as you want normally. Paper towels are expensive, so we don't get lots of that. That was something that we never really got a lot of at the old company. But at the old company, we still got enough. Over here, it's extreme. Groceries are very expensive. So, especially now, our store that we buy our groceries from is not going to be open for months. Because my company is 5 minutes from my house. So nobody's at that office. The store that we use for groceries is going to be down for a while. So we're going to use boat stores. Unless people are coming in, they can go to different stores in different areas. But for the most part, from Houston to Corpus Christi, where I run, we're going to use a boat store, which goes pretty much, you fill out an order, they run to Walmart, pick it up for you, they charge you to bring it out to you, and then they pay up the price of the groceries. So yeah, we might, but they also don't pay taxes on the groceries, so that helps. There's no taxes on it, so you actually get a full. But I would say close to $400 of groceries we'll get. $350 to $400 per week using a boat store.
And that's $400 a week for a 4-man crew, or $400 a week per person?
No, that's for the whole crew. That's for everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult to do, especially.
No doubt.
I guess you could do it if you ate cup of noodles.
Yeah. Well, what they do on here is you pretty much fix 1 main meal a day. You don't have a lot of options on the side. I buy my own drinks coming here most of the time. Like 90% of the time, I buy my own drinks, and I buy a lot of my own snacks coming on a boat. And I've never had to do that before until this company. So, if I had this company's a small kind of, it's a big company. It's been around forever. There's lots of boats, but it's more of a mom and pop shop, locally owned. Been a family business for since the 70s, probably 60. I don't know. It's been forever. The company's been around a long time. So if there's one complaint, it's real laid back here, I would say, especially compared to a lot of other companies. But supplies and groceries and boat maintenance is a little on the downside. But they do what they got to do to get by. So least I got a job.
That's true.
See, I don't care to have to drive 3-4 hours to get to office to drive Tug Boat. So I've always tried to work for companies that were local.
And
Because
so
once
you said
go
your
ahead.
company is 5 minutes away?
Yeah, it's me about 6 to 7 minutes from my front door to get to my office. They live a little further south than me, so yeah, a bunch of trucks in the parking lot. You got well, I'll say a bunch. See, at my house, I was fortunate. All the wind was coming from the back of my house, the way the wind was blowing. So it's just pretty much the back of my house that I'm guessing shingles are missing from. I was just told I had a lot of shingles missing. My neighbor went look around, so I didn't really get to look at anything. We don't know how much water got into the house. It's a very good chance from just a small storm that passed by the house. We had water running down, a couple of years ago when we got that done. So there's a good chance of the shingles missing. Once you go inside, the walls, they're gonna have water all over inside the house. We just don't know yet. The thing is our walls are still up, which is so much more than what a lot of people can say that live in my area.
Right. So do you have somebody that's gone in your house or no?
Nobody has gone in. I've only had those couple pictures from outside, and the neighbor had made a walk around.
Huh. So when will your family be able to head over there and look?
Well, right now they're still telling people not to come in. They're saying 3 days at first. They're expecting 3 to 4 weeks before they get power back. Uh, we have a septic system, so we're good on that. But a lot of homeless doesn't have even sewage. There's no water. Right now, there's no bottled water anywhere around town. Even where Corey went, listen to me, oh God. Even where Jeanette, my girlfriend, went for to evacuate in Mississippi. There's no bottled water even around them, and they're 3 hours from the house. So she took all my kids with her. The ex Corey, she stayed in a little above Homa in Schriever. I don't really know how they made out, but I wasn't leaving my kids nowhere around there. People are crazy. I mean, a lot of people don't have options, don't get me wrong, but I knew this was going to be terrible.
So I was heading to the post office, and there was a truck unloading pallets of water in one of the driveways of a residential house here. I'm pretty sure they were taking that water down to you guys.
Probably so.
It was pallets and pallets of it. It was, I don't know, it had to have been 12 pallets. And they were all on their knees, breaking them down and putting them in vehicles. So I'm pretty sure they were bringing that stuff to you guys.
No doubt. I'll tell you what, there's lots of awesome people that come around at this time. Lots of people come down, and I remember in the past when I was working on my house, you can be working in your house and somebody will just stop by with MREs. Because that's what a lot of times that's all we're going to have to eat for the next 2 to 3 months is MREs. That's mostly what everybody eats because there's no food around town. So they'll bring a bunch of MREs down, they'll deliver them to you out so you can go somewhere and pick them up, and then they'll deliver water. I remember last time Anheuser-Busch, instead of making beer for a little while, they made just cans of water, and they just put them in 12 packs and sent a bunch of cans of water down south. I mean, like, I'm talking about a bunch of cans of water. They donated so much water. It didn't taste the greatest, but it was water, and it was appreciated. But yeah, they'll stop house to house. They'll just drive down and see people working on their house and give water, ice, that type of stuff. Because, I mean, everything, all of our groceries are going to be going. It's, once you get back to the house, you got to start, I'm going to have to start cutting trees down, but you got to get everything out of your icebox freezers. All that's trash. All that's no good no more. So, normally they'll give cards out to replace the groceries that you lost. That way people's not worried about that. But that doesn't happen even until they have grocery stores open, which can be months,
Right.
All these people rushing to go back. Now, my mom and dad, they're going to be going home tomorrow, they said, and they were going to see how much damage they have on their place. And if they have damage and they have to leave, well, then Jeanette's going to have to leave the camp because, I mean, they're all sick over there. Can't have mom and dad going. in the middle of all that. Plus, like you were saying earlier about just driving 12 hours or so. When you leave for a storm, if you don't leave at least 48 hours ahead of time, a place that normally took you 3 hours to get to, say people was heading from our house to Lake Charles, which is normally a 3.5 hour drive, it was taking 10 hours to get there.
Right.
The interstate is just blocked up, so you have to leave. It took the net, which is normally about a 3.5 hour drive. It took them 5 hours, 5.5 hours to get to the camp, which normally that's 3.5 hours tops. So just driving up, it's kind of difficult, and just staying somewhere because she went pick up my truck because that's the only way everybody would fit. So she's got 7 people and a dog, in a Tundra. That's what she evacuated. So just to drive up and stay in a truck for 3 days, she allowed to go back. Sounds nice, but it's kind of difficult. And they got a car seat for the baby, so. Yeah. It's not always easy as just running up 12 hours. It sounds great, you always got to figure at least 3 days minimum. And when like this, they usually tell you at least 3 days before you come back. Sometimes it's a week and a half, 10 days before they allow people to come back. Like I said, just in about a 6 mile stretch on the road leading to my house that I watched a video of this morning, there was at least 10 power lines down to where people was having to drive on their shoulder into people's driveways to get around, through store parking lots to get around. And you got to figure that's everywhere. So it's going to take a long time for these people to get in here and just to clear the roads, period, much less start doing electricity, start getting the power back going. Right. And right now it's 100 degrees in the house. So inside of the house is going to be 100, 105 degrees during the daytime, even with the doors open, and no electricity. Normally you have to boil water. My house is totally electric, so there's no gas. I do have butane. I could boil a little water with butane, but you could bathe and stuff, but water's pretty much useless at the moment. That usually lasts a good week, 2 weeks that they tell you to boil the water. Pretty much head back and start clearing off all the debris. That's the first step. Checking the roof out. And I already talked to one of my buddies who does roof work and fixes houses and stuff. And he's got some tarps. I'm gonna have to pay him to go, and if my house is leaking, he's gonna go. He's going to the Net's house. I already talked to him about that, and then I'll probably have to pay $1,000 just to get somebody to put some tarps up on my roof.
Right. I wonder if you can call the neighbor and see if the black paper is still down.
It's hard. The service is through the storm, I was able to text them, but like the last day, 24 hours, it's almost impossible to talk to anybody down there.
Right. All right, my dude. Well, I appreciate you talking with us today.
Roger, pal.
Matt, you be safe, okay, my friend?
All right, we'll do.
And I'll be thinking about you. And thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you. Siren, thanks for all your hard work. And Siren was in here the entire time, Matt. So,
Roger.
I thank you very much. You have a great day. I'll give you a little chit-chat later on or text you up. I thank you very much, dude.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Love you guys. Yeah, take it safe.
Take care, bro. Love you. All right, guys, till I see you again, do something nice for somebody and pay it forward every chance you get. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.